FMG results are out. Like if you see the pattern from the past 17 years, from 2002 till 2019, the results are giving happiness to few and bitter results to many. So by following the same pattern, it also gives same kind of experience to many of the aspirants. So here specifically I am with all of you to share some of the motivational points for the students who feel that they have failed the FMG exam. So failed in FMG, so what? What does that matter? What's next? And how to focus again? So this is what you need to concentrate today. So remember that failure is not the end of the journey. Instead, what I feel is, it is just an experience you have while on your way to success. At this particular time, you all have to say to yourself, that is, whenever we take a step back towards success, I can accept failure. Everyone fails at something, but you have to say to yourself that I cannot accept not trying again. So you have to remember one important proverb here. Ever tried, ever failed. No matter. Try again, and fail better. So not an issue at all. So you should not be in a deep depressive mood at this point. Yes, it is an unpleasant effect. I know, I can understand. Failing can be unpleasant. We all knew this. But do you think this is the real failure? What is the real failure? The only real failure is to give up. So according to me, there are only 3 ways to actually fail in the exam or in your life. That is, when we quit, when we do not improve, or when we never try. So this is the time we should feel that we failed. So failing in one exam is not considered to be the failure in your life or a part. So every failure should be taken as a lesson, because failure should be our teacher, not our undertaker. Failure is delay, but not the defeat. It is the temporary detour, not the dead end. So the failure is something we can avoid only by saying nothing, doing nothing, and being nothing. Just you have to relax and focus on what's next. In sometimes, for many of you, you may feel at a particular point of time, failure is the best thing that ever happened to you, right? Because it gives you a great comeback story. But what is important here is, you need to learn how to handle rejection and keeping your spirit alive. So learn to be positive, learn to be completely relaxed, talk to the family and friends, and the first important thing what you need to do is stop worrying, because result is not the ultimate decisive factor of your life. So what you need to do from now on is start to create a positive mindset, because very few people understand the power of the mind. When you fail, you need to make a conscious decision to be positive rather than being miserable. If you do choose to be miserable, it will be much harder for you to back up from the failure. But however, if you cultivate a positive mindset around you, then you can move on from each and every failure without losing your enthusiasm and the drive. So remember here that the positive mindset will lead to the positive results, whereas the negative mindset will always give you negative results. That's why always try to be positive and create the positive mindset here on. So while thinking about the exams like FMG or NEET PG or USMLE, So we mostly come across three different types of students or aspirants. The first are the winners who prepare for the exam, crack it, and happily move on in their journey towards the excellence. That is one category. Second category are the ones who take the first step of preparing for the exam, but due to failure once or twice have given up and feel like they have lost a part of their life, gaining nothing. Some also go back to the heights of losing their confidence and thus refuse to make a new start. And now coming to the third category. The third category people are most dangerous. They are the fearers who take step completely backwards, contemplating that it is a tough nut to crack, given a low success rate of the exam, an enormous amount of the syllabus. So it is extremely important that we have the same motivation and same zeal, same commitment and the same state of mind after failure. So maintaining all those things is extremely important. So we all have read stories about the first category of people, as they are the achievers and they are the ones who inspire the others to step into their battleground. But today we want to talk about the second and third category of students who also put in their hard work and time but failed to achieve their goal. And they were just a few marks away from the first category. So it's not the failure of your life, but just an experience which is absolutely temporary, because you have an exam coming up again after 6 months or again after 1 year to prove yourself in the battlefield. So you are just 5 months or 1 year away to taste the success and keep yourself in the right track until then. So here what I want to tell you a point is, I dare you to try it. What is it? So let me talk about some of the stories here. Who is Edison to you? Have you remembered his name? Do you know him? Yes, he is the guy who kept on working even after hundreds failure. I am sure, like me, you also heard that the story many times. But what did you take from the story? The invention of the light bulb was a historical landmark, right? So afterwards he was interviewed. A reporter asked him, after failing more than 100 times, what led to your success? You know what was his reply? His reply was incredible. He said, who told you that I failed in those 100 attempts? In fact, I learned over 100 ways of not making a light bulb. So that is what is a positive mindset what you need to have. That's the positive mindset you can derive when you fail. So failure can make you stronger. It just depends on your mindset. You see every mountain as a conquerable, every challenge as possible, and you see yourself as an expert no matter how many times you have failed, because you have an unshakable belief that you will succeed at a given point of time. And who cares about the failures once you succeed? No one. No one talk about your failure. Your failures are forgotten once you succeeded. Let me tell you another story here. I am sure you have heard about the Wright brothers who are credited with inventing the aeroplane. Have you heard about Samuel Langley? Heard of his name before? I doubt if anyone has. He was the another person also attempting to build an airplane at the same time the Wright brothers were. So the Langley wanted to be the first to invent the flying machine. He wanted the kind of fame like Edison has achieved after his invention. So with all the support and resources and also the contacts what he had in the governments at that time, he did not complete his objective first. Well, he was completely outworked, outthought and outmaneuvered by two brothers who, despite their modest resources, were rich in the most important attribute of all. So, firstly, you must remember that no matter what the people around you say, you must keep your confidence and motivation intact and move on with a greater zeal and prove your caliber and potential. For this, you need to first believe in yourself to make the world believe in you. So this is the only way you will be keep going with the same kind of motivation. So this is the time to begin with the right steps that are needed and the processes to be followed to get back to your confidence and be the warrior again. So while controlling the circumstances is not in our hands, but we can control how we can navigate the failure, right? So while discussing on the ways to motivate ourselves, we have some steps on helping to recover the defeat and stand tall to face the battleground again in the near future. So let's enter into the story now. So you have to concentrate from this point of time. First of all, accept your failure. So most of us find it very difficult to face our failure and not willing to accept our mistakes that we have lost. And meanwhile, we try to avoid facing the people and we try to lie to the people and relatives and also to the close mates. So the first step to motivate yourself is to wake up from the trance and accept your failure. And if anyone asks you regarding the result, just say that yes, I didn't get through, but for sure I'll do it for the next time. Simple and straight. Do not hesitate and speak with the confidence. This is what is required at this point of time. So accepting your defeat doesn't mean that you are doubting yourself or tagging yourself as a loser. It just means that being one with the reality and welcoming your failure and get ready for the success in the near future. And not only to accept, you also have to take some kind of responsibility. What is that? Generally, if you see the normal human behavior or the tendency is to always play the blame game. Instead of taking responsibility of our failures, we tend to blame it on external factors like parents, friends, teachers, or even institute, or sometimes even on the exam. So, but what we tend to forget is that, so all these are our soldiers. So you have to feel that we are the king, right? You are the king. So you are the king in this battle. And only if the king is pretty strong, then only his army be able to help him. So take responsibility of your failure and accept your mistakes. That is the first step what you need to learn from this. And now you have to analyze and learn from the failure. So living in the denial and blaming others may be very soothing, calms your mind for some time. But in the long run, it can play with your intellect and hamper your thought process in the future. So therefore, instead of dazing, wake up, take a pen and paper and analyze what is went wrong. And find that one thread which was left loose in your previous attempt, which led to this mistake in your life. And make sure that you never repeat the same mistake again. So this approach will help you to be true to yourself, and instead of viewing your attempt as a failure, you will see it as a learning experience of your life. So that's why you should not dwell on the failure. So once analyzed, you have to learn how to move on. That is the most important part of this process. You cannot dwell on your mistakes in life. Instead, what is required is that you learn from those mistakes and move on in your life with double the enthusiasm to achieve your aim. So this is what I want to tell to all of the students who think that they have failed the exam, but rather than they have to feel that it is an experience in the process of learning or in the process of success. So I want to give some of the suggestions to the repeaters of the FMGE here. So by now you completed your coaching, you have finished majority of the subjects, or some of the students might have studied only few subjects and left many. So you got all the experience what you need about the exam. So what you need to do right now is use your knowledge and experience to your advantage and prepare the weaker subjects well in advance, which means begin your preparation now with your weaker subjects but not the stronger subjects. You must be knowing where you went wrong and why it went wrong and what to expect. And by now, you also know which areas need to be focused or work on. I mean in terms of subjects or notes, or maybe in terms of solving MCQs or grand tests. So you must be covered the syllabus by now completely and have enough time to fine-tune your attempt strategy. And if you have left any subject in your previous attempt, finish that first. In addition, you also know how to schedule your studies well. And this is all will go handy in planning in advance and planning well for the future, or else take the help from your teachers or your friends who have passed or your mentors. Stay focused, stay determined, stay motivated, be enthusiastic, and try to get success in your next attempt. And this is what I want to tell to all the future doctors as well as my students. So be strong at this time and success is in your way. Okay? Thank you and see you once again.